Okay, I don't do this, but I feel like God's telling me to record this and to share it with people, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm reading this morning in my Bible in Psalm 46, and the main theme of this is that God is our refuge and our strength. And these short 11 verses, they pack a punch. But what I want to focus on is verses 7 and verses 11, and they repeat themselves. And it says, "The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge." Verse 7 says that. Verse 11 says the same thing. And the second bit of that, the God of Jacob is our refuge, is what I want to focus on. And if any of you know anything about who Jacob is, he was an interesting guy, to say the least. He did not have his crap together whatsoever. He stole from his brother. He deceived his father. He was constantly obsessing over getting blessed and constantly just obsessing over it to the point like he stole his brother's blessing by deceiving his father. He literally put like fur all over his body to confuse his father to thinking that it was Esau when it wasn't. He bought his brother's birthright over a bowl of soup, which that's another story, but he was so consumed with getting something. And it's not until he gets in a fist fight with God, in Genesis it's talking about, if I can find it, it says he got in a fight, he wrestled with an angel, and then later on, underneath all that, it says that he had seen God face to face. So that's implying that he wrestled with God. And it's not until he gets into this fist fight that God is changing his name to Israel. That is the turning point for Jacob. That is when he stops obsessing with all of the blessings, all of the getting something for nothing. And that's when he really starts to have that relationship with God. His name is changed to Israel. That is when he's considered to be righteous and holy and good. That's when we really start to see that pivotal moment in this man's life. And in Psalm, and all throughout the Old Testament, and even in the New Testament, when you see the God of Jacob, it's not talking about the God of Israel, the guy who has his crap together, the guy who is considered righteous and holy. No, it's the God of Jacob, the God of the guy who was robbing from his brother, who was deceiving his father, who had multiple wives, who was just not very good all around. He was not a role model, to say the least. He did not have his crap together. He was a sinner through and through. And yet, it's not the God of Israel who's our refuge. It's the God of Jacob who's our refuge. The God of the sinner. The God of the guy who doesn't have his crap together. The God of the person who makes mistakes, who screws up, who has bad days, who gets an attitude, who doesn't treat people the way they need to. The God of the basic, normal person. That's our refuge. The God who sees all of our imperfections and still loves us. The God who sees and knows everything that goes on in your head and in your heart and still loves you. That's who our refuge is. So if there's anyone out here who's going to watch this who thinks that you have to look perfect, act perfect, present yourself in a way that is going to make you look better, God doesn't care. God doesn't care what your hair looks like, obviously, as you can see this. He does not care what your hair looks like. He doesn't care if you got makeup on. He doesn't care what your house looks like. He doesn't care if you've got the nicest, newest vehicles. He doesn't care about any of that. He cares about your heart. He cares about, do you love him? And do you walk with him and are you trying to have that personal relationship with him, you're going to screw up. You're still a sinner, and you will be until the day you die. But the important part is God. You can find refuge in God, and you can find refuge in knowing that it's okay that you suck because God's still good. It's okay that if you mess up, it's okay that you are not perfect because Jesus was. Jesus is perfect. So that's all I got for you. Like I said, I don't normally do this at all, but I really felt like God was like punching me in the belly, like, hey, you need to do this. You need to share this with people. So sorry if I'm a little spastic, but I hope somebody gets something out of this. Thanks.